Who are these people?
Good afternoon. My name is Angel Rivera. This is Angel in the Afternoon. Today being Friday, September 15th at 2 o'clock Eastern. So we'll be, you, uh, I accidentally left on one of my streams. So I heard my echo. I was like, what the hell is going on here? And I realized, oh, I left on the stream by mistake. But this is Friday. It's 2:15. That means it's time for the show. And today we'll be talking about a few stories which I've already highlighted, but not highlighted, but we will talk about today and then we will discuss. So let's see here. Let's make sure everything is set up. I'll be with you guys until around 4 o'clock. So I'm just going to take a couple minutes, let more people get on here. Let me see something. So, how is everybody this Friday? Wow. Hey, Andy, what's up? Just waiting for more people to show up. Lord. Well, spent a bunch of time. Had a good week, as usual. I made a bunch of standalone videos for the channel, for my channel at least, because I need to upload nearly every day if possible, because that way the algorithm knows that I am active, even though I almost know for a fact that the algorithm has blocked me out pretty much, but it's fine. I'm gonna continue uploading, continue plugging away, and who knows what happens. We'll see what happens, but as of now, that's my plan at least. I'm gonna try to upload at least once a day. How to set up my things properly, and just keep plugging away and see what happens. That's all I can really do at this point, because I'm not going to beat the corporate algorithm right now. We're not a part of it. I'm not a part of it. So yeah, just might as well keep doing what I'm doing and see what happens. If I get 10 to 50 views a video, that's fine. I mean, I'm surprised that many people even watch my shit. But yeah, I mean, everything happens for a reason, and I'm fine with it. Oh, by the way, make sure you like and subscribe. Very important to beat the algorithm. Make sure you like and subscribe to the INN channel and to my channel as well. Let's see. Okay. Here's the link to my personal channel if you happen to be watching on INN. So please make sure you subscribe and like and all that good stuff on my channel. So, that's my channel right there. Oops. Wait. Oh. Why is this still here? Okay, there we go. So, it's been 4 minutes, so I guess I'll get it started. So we'll get started simply today with no. Why am I confused? Oh, okay, let's get rid of that for now. Let's go here. Let's start out very simply right now, because Let's start out simply right now with that. Okay. Claims he taught at the University of Pennsylvania. Was that before or after standing with Nelson Mandela? You see, now let's go here. He's never taught at the University of Pennsylvania. So that's just ridiculous, but let's watch this real quick.
Our democracy is under attack, and we got to fight for it. I taught at the University of Pennsylvania for 4 years, and I used to teach political theory. Our
No, he
democracy
didn't.
is under attack.
Oops. No, he didn't. He never taught at the University of Pennsylvania. He didn't teach political theory. So no one should be surprised that Biden's lying in that way, but it hasn't stopped him before. He's a pathological liar, so yep. So no one should be surprised at that Joe Biden is a goddamn liar. But no, let's see what else can. Oh yeah, here we go. Let's see. Make this bigger. The Canadians are afraid. This is the next story. Whoops. My door keeps closing on me. The Canadians are afraid, as you can see here. Canada mulling game plan if U.S. takes far right authoritarian shift. According to Melanie Jolly Joy, whatever the fuck her name is, she is the close that for now. Let's put this here so I can see it. She's the I believe she's the let's say Foreign Affairs Minister. Melanie Joy says Canada has been considering a game plan for how it will respond if the United States takes a far right authoritarian shift in the next year's presidential election. We are certainly working on scenarios, she said in French during an interview with Montreal radio station Wednesday. Jolly added that Ottawa's close political and economic ties to the U.S. means that we must certainly prepare for several scenarios, blah, blah, blah. I will work with my colleagues and let's see. Why did I lose myself? Oh, here we go. Trump is again running for the Republican nomination in next November's election and has promised retribution against his opponents and civil servants. The U.S. Embassy in Ottawa declined to comment on Jolly's remarks. University of Ottawa national security professor, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, basically, the Canadians are very scared. They're very scared that we're going to take a right-wing authoritarian shift. There's no issue, though, with left-wing authoritarianism here in the U.S. They have no problem with that. They have zero problem with that because ultimately, the Canadian government's pretty left-wing as it is. So very, very pretty left wing authoritarian rather. So yeah, there's no left wing authoritarianism is no issue. Right wing authoritarianism, time to melt down, time to have plans, time to have contingency plans, time to make sure that everybody knows that we in Canada are scared to death of the US and possible right wing authoritarianism. Even though the US been right wing authoritarian for most of my life. But somehow now they're deathly afraid. What a coincidence, huh? That the possibility of Donald Trump becoming president again scares the Canadians to death. The reason why I came across this was written last month, but the reason why I came across it, let me try that again. The reason why I came across this is because the most hyperbolic YouTuber in this space covered it. And it's Mike Figueredo. He's the most, my opinion, the most hyperbolic YouTuber in this space. I mean, he comes up with some shit which is like, really, dude. You think that he's so hyperbolic that it's like, holy crap. I mean, I can't believe he says this bullshit. So let's see here. Let's do that. Why is this here? Yeah, I'm talking to myself, but I'm trying to figure this out. All right, so I did close it. Lord have mercy. Hold on a second. Here we go. Let's do that. Let's do this. Oops. Let's put that there. All right, so let's play this real quick and then I'll stop and react along the way.
Criminal charges in total, Donald Trump could still very well win the presidency in 2024, which would likely spell doom for American democracy. But we need to be clear, Donald Trump is not the only threat to democracy in this country right now, because historian Ruth Ben-Guyot warns that the entire Republican Party is currently in a spiral of radicalization, and they all pose a danger to democracy. Now, if that sounds like hyperbole to you,
yes, it's hyperbole.
Just consider how much this party has devolved over the past decade alone. Civil rights
The Democrats have not devolved in the last 10 years. So,
organizations.
yet the nation's largest LGBTQ advocacy group joins Equality Florida in issuing updated Florida tribal advisory. Yeah, like, that's the thing. Honestly, I mean, it's like, be very afraid, motherfuckers. Do not travel to Florida. Don't you dare travel to Florida because you will die if you're gay. Even though we can all die at any moment in all 50 states. But, you know, especially if you're gay, don't go to Florida. They hate gays down there. They'll kill you on sight. It's just ridiculous.
Organizations are now having to literally issue travel advisories to Florida, for example, over their state's fascist attacks.
Florida's Ron DeSantis is just a step behind Hungary's fascist Viktor Orban, and anti-LGBTQ attacks in Hungary are offering bigoted inspiration to the far right in the U.S. Yeah, let's be deathly afraid. Be deathly afraid. I mean, remember that. If you're gay, you're deathly afraid right now. Make sure of that.
On LGBTQ people, and some residents have even left the state.
Florida anti-LGBTQ laws prompt families who feel unsafe to flee. Okay.
Because of those policies. GOP tactics have become increasingly undemocratic.
Tennessee's House expels 2 or 3 Democrats over gun protest. I don't really care. I mean, I don't know why this is up here. I mean, apparently this is a big deal that the Tennessee House is expelling Democrats over gun protesting. Okay, I don't care. Oh, fuck. Hold on. Okay, here we go.
Tactics have become increasingly undemocratic, with some Republicans expelling, banning, and
transgender lawmaker banned from Montana House floor for the rest of the 2023 session. Oh, this is Zoe Zephyr, I believe it is. Yeah, that's her. And again, I don't care. I mean, I don't know why any of this is even here. Like, it's supposed to be evidence of something.
And even threatening to impeach political opponents.
Wait. Go back to that. I didn't read
Some
that.
Republicans expelling, banning, and even threatening to impeach.
What authoritarianism look like. Wisconsin GOP threatens to impeach liberal justice. Republicans are threatening to use the gerrymander supermajority to remove the newly elected Wisconsin Supreme Court justice who could strike down the gerrymanders. Again, this is all just a bunch of headlines. I don't understand what this has to do with anything that the Canadians are doing.
To impeach political opponents. Neo-Nazis have infiltrated.
DeSantis staffer who shared video featuring neo-Nazi symbol no longer with the campaign. Here's the thing. This is Mike Figueredo being hypocritical because he's talking about how terrible Nazis are in the U.S., but he has zero problem with Nazis in Ukraine. I mean, none. None of these liberals have zero problem with Nazis in Ukraine. But Nazis in the U.S., oh my God, let's fucking melt down. Let's fucking lose our minds. Let's virtue signal and talk about how much better we are than the Nazis in the U.S. are, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's all nonsense.
Created political campaigns, not to mention they've pushed democracy-killing legal theories that have thankfully been struck.
Supreme Court rejects independent state legislature theory but leaves door ajar. Okay.
Down. Republicans have called for a national divorce.
Marjorie Taylor Greene refuses to back down from national divorce proposal. The Georgia Republican firebrand has faced some GOP opposition to her plan. Okay. Again, I don't know how this connects, but, you know, just be afraid time.
Force. Some have even raised the specter of civil war. Conservative threats of terror, as well as actual acts of right-wing terrorism, have become increasingly common. One wealthy right-winger is outright predicting the
U.S. businessman is wannabe warlord of secretive far right men's group network. Okay, again, this is all just headlines. I don't know how this is evidence, but okay.
collapse of the United States, and is already positioning himself to be a fucking warlord. And we're not even scratching the surface. There is a plethora of other reasons why Republicans pose a danger to U.S. democracy. But if you
Not Democrats, though. Democrats do not pose a danger to U.S. democracy. Even though they denied the results of the 2016 election, even though they spent 4 years acting like Donald Trump was a illegitimate president, and even though they spent all their time trying to impeach him and overthrow him. But no. Somehow the Republicans, there are the danger to democracy, not the Democrats. See the hypocrisy?
you still don't believe in 2023 that a post-democratic
Hey, Sage. Thanks for joining me. Never mind all the gay people who are moving into Florida. The only families leaving Florida are doing so because the state made it illegal. Rightly so. Give a child a sex thing to. Yeah, I mean, I completely even though I'm pro LGBTQ A B A Y S rights, whatever, but not for children. I mean, children should not be going through that crap. If you're an adult, that's completely different. It's like, okay, do whatever you want. It's your body's your life. But children, nah, I'm not down with that. And I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna talk against that as long as I have this tiny little platform that I have.
democratic America is possible, you are either very naive or really optimistic. Now,
What do you say?
democratic America is possible, you are either
We're not a democracy, so there's no democratic America. What we are is a representative republic, which means that we elect our representatives and then they get to decide policy, and the American people maybe have some influence. That's how our system is created, in theory, because right now we have no influence over policy in Washington. But in theory, that's how it's supposed to work. Instead, we're not a democracy. Why do you think we're electoral college? Basically, we vote to tell our electors how they vote in the December election, which is the real election, not November. So yeah, we're not a democracy. We've never been a democracy. I don't think that was even the intention. So I don't know why every liberal I hear say we're a democracy on the ballot. We're in danger. Democracy on the ballot, and blah 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 blah. It's like we're not a democracy. So I don't know why you're even saying that.
either very naive or really optimistic. Now, I'm not saying a collapse of U.S. democracy is inevitable, right? I don't want to
Except that's what it sounds like.
make you depressed or get you in a doomer mood. I desperately hope that that doesn't happen. But what I am saying is that democracy is indeed in danger, and what we do now is going to determine our future. So this is a very important moment, and it's so bad currently.
It's very important, very scary. Be afraid. Keep watching my videos, so I'll tell you exactly how scared you be, so I can make more money on ad revenue. What, did I just say that out loud? I should have muted my mic. I mean, unbelievable. This guy is like, he's so hyperbolic. He tried to scare his audience into watching him.
It looks so scary.
100%. I completely agree.
That our neighbors north of the border feel compelled to formulate a game plan in the event we have a full-blown fascist takeover. Canada has already issued a travel advisory for LGBTQ citizens.
Canada cautions LGBTQAYZY citizens visiting the U.S. over state law. Advice that travelers to the U.S. check relevant state and local laws came in response to rules this year restricting transgender care, drag shows, and sports participation. Yeah, there's a pushback from Americans to all these laws. Again, laws protecting children or attempted laws protecting children, and then Canada comes in, virtue signals, melts down, lets their people know, oh yeah, by the way, don't go to the U.S. because we're deathly afraid. Make sure you don't go to the U.S. because they will kill you on sight if you're gay. Unbelievable.
citizens traveling to the United States, but they're also thinking ahead about what to do if things get even worse. The Toronto Star reports Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly says Canada has been considering a game plan for how it would respond if the United States takes a far-right authoritarian shift.
Yeah, what's your game plan? What are you going to do if Trump wins the presidency, which he most likely will next year? What are you going to do? Are you going to cut off all relations? Relations? That sounds dirty. You're going to cut off all communication or relationships? Relationship? What are you going to do? You ain't going to do a goddamn thing. Your little game plans don't mean anything.
After next year's presidential elections, we are certainly working on scenarios, Joly said in French.
What scenarios? But you got nothing. I mean, what are you going to do?
An interview with the Montreal radio station Wednesday, Joly added that Ottawa's close political and economic ties to the United States means that we must certainly prepare several scenarios. She suggested Canada has a game plan in mind, but wouldn't get into details. Quote, in general, there is our game plan precisely to be able to manage what could be a rather difficult situation, she said. So she's being coy, but I mean, the subtext is that they're looking at us and they're thinking things look pretty bad currently, to the point where we need to prepare for the worst. That's where we're at in this country. Now,
I don't think that the United States is particularly intimidated by Canada, but yeah.
Spoke to Thomas Juneau, who is a national security professor at the University of Ottawa, and he explains that a U.S. collapse means that Canada is going to be affected in a major way, which is why
U.S. collapse. Hold on, I thought you said that you didn't want to scare your audience or make your audience depressed. Now you turn around and say, well, the possibility of a U.S. collapse, this random Canadian professor says this is and this.
Why they're concerned. I feel like this is obvious, but this is why they're thinking about this, because they kind of have to, right? They'll likely have to bear the brunt of an American refugee crisis in the event this happens.
American refugee crisis? What are you talking about? Like, honestly, if there is ever an issue with the U.S. government collapsing, I'm going to Mexico. I'm not going to fucking Canada. Dude, I'm sorry. I'm taking my ass and going down to Mexico. Or I'm going back home to Puerto Rico. I'm not going to Canada. I think most Americans would not go to Canada if there's ever a collapse, an unlikely collapse of the U.S. government. Like, my ass is going to Mexico or going back to Puerto Rico. That's what I'm doing. I'm not fucking going to Canada and freezing my ass off most of the year. If there's a collapse, going south. Where do you think you guys would go in an unlikely collapse of the U.S. government?
Their economy might suffer if the relationship between both countries suffers. I mean, the United States and Canada, they share intelligence information and scientific information. So if the U.S. becomes a fascist authoritarian regime, does that relationship still exist? Do they still share these types of details?
Yes. Because what are the Canadians going to do? I mean, if they don't do exactly what we tell them to do, we will invade them. That's the problem with the United States. The Pentagon has invasion plans for nearly every country on Earth. So they have these plans ready to go. Just in case, the Canadians, they go try to do whatever they want to do. That's not how it works. Not, at least not here in North America. I mean, they're not going to do anything. They're going to do exactly what they're told by the U.S.
Of details. How does Canada respond to potential territorial disputes that emerge in some areas of the United States if certain regions want to break away from authoritarian America? I mean, these are things that Canada has to consider, but they're not just planning ahead. They're being proactive and also already shoring up relationships with other countries in the event that their closest ally falls. The article continues, NDP...
No, the U.S. isn't falling. What, the United States government just stopped existing one day as soon as Trump gets elected? Even if Trump is elected, the U.S. will still exist. So what are you talking about? The government's collapsing. Did I just lose my... I did. Oh, crap. Hold on a second. Technical difficulties in my headphones. Yep. What? I don't know what... Like, I don't know what these people want. I mean, it's like, oh, the U.S. is about to collapse, and the Canadians are coming up with contingency plans, and they're trying to, they're going to protect liberals and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, shut up.
NDP Foreign Affairs critic Heather McPherson said it's only logical that Ottawa planned for an aggressive Washington. She said Canada would benefit from stronger ties with other
An
allies.
aggressive Washington. I mean, it's just absurd. It's like, oh yeah, Washington is going to attack Ottawa one day, and if we were to attack Ottawa, we would take them within a week, maybe less. And I mean, I don't understand. Yeah, even if they're planning, I don't know what they're planning, but that's not a good thing, by the way. I'm not making it like that's a good thing, but those are the facts. Those are what's going to happen if the United States ever decides to invade Canada, of all places.
Allies, even if it ends up remaining on good terms with the.
I know the Republicans are discussing invading Mexico, which is insane. But let's say the United States actually invades Mexico. And by the way, Democrats have also floated this idea. Pete Buttigieg being the primary example of floating the idea of invasion of Mexico, which these liberals don't tell you. But let's say we were to invade Mexico. It would take a lot longer than a few days to take Mexico, especially with the cartels and how armed they are. We'll be in a slog of a war for years trying to take Mexico. That's not a thing. Meanwhile, Canada doesn't have that many criminals, and they don't have that many. That their military is probably like a pushover. So it would be a lot. But Mexico, that's going to be a bitch. We're not going to take it that easily if we wanted to. All right, let's keep going with this. I just went off on a tangent there for some reason.
With the United States. Donald Trump is a scourge on democracy across the world, she said.
Oh, yeah. Donald Trump is definitely a scourge on democracy. It's scourge, not scourge, but whatever. I mean, we all fuck up like this when we're podcasters. But, yeah, he's not a scourge on democracy because the Democrats also censor, and the Democrats also are pretty anti-democratic when they spent 4 years denying that Trump was elected. So this is not just a Republican problem. This is also a Democrat problem, too.
Said, frankly, Canada better have a plan for a decline in American democracy. Meanwhile, Juneau said he hasn't heard of other countries saying publicly that they have contingency plans if Uncle Sam takes an authoritarian turn. Quote,
We're already taking an authoritarian turn. It's either left-wing authoritarianism or right-wing authoritarianism, but we are an authoritarian state. We're an oligarchy. I mean, the U.S. is not, oh my God, it's so stupid. It's like mind-numbing sometimes.
This is very sensitive for any Democratic ally of the United States, he said. My guess is that any ally will be very, very discreet about this. Generally, Canada's allies have used language focused on the risks of America withdrawing from the world stage. France's ambassador to Canada said last April that closer ties between Ottawa and Europe could protect both from Washington pulling inward. So those last two paragraphs are telling. Whenever you hear a diplomat talking about America, quote unquote, withdrawing from the world stage, odds are that's code for America becoming a hostile, authoritarian hellhole. But
we already are. We've invaded, 10 countries in the last 20 years? We already are. What they're saying is we're afraid that we're next. Canada and Europe, they're afraid that we're next, and it's not a damn thing we could do about it. That's what they're saying, and that's what they're afraid of. Do they have the right to be fearful? Probably. I mean, I would be fearful if I were one of these countries, especially if Trump gets elected. But doesn't it ultimately? Come on, I mean, the chances that as long as Europe and Canada does what we tell them to do, they won't get invaded. I don't know. There's no fear here about getting invaded.
But they're trying to phrase it in the nicest way possible so they don't offend America. Now, to be clear, they're not concerned about the far left. They're not concerned about Democrats. They don't think that Democrats are communist, as we often hear in this country. They are explicitly concerned because of the outcome of the next election and how Trump and a victory could literally kill democracy. I mean, he's already kind of
literally killed democracy, even though we're not a democracy. Makes no sense.
Broadcasting things that he wants to do to either blatantly violate the Constitution or push the limits of what is constitutionally permissible. But again, even though he represents the clearest threat to democracy, the entire party itself
A clear threat to democracy, even though we're not a democracy. It doesn't make any sense again.
is a threat. Republicans in general are a danger to U.S. democracy, and that's what people need to understand, right? It's not just Trump anymore. It's all Republicans, and Professor of History Ruth Ben-Gayat is going to explain why in the following clip.
It's now a party that
I have no idea who this is, but, we'll find out together.
is dependent on lying, on corruption, because election denial.
Well, that sounds like Democrats, but let's continue.
A third of the House, Republican members, are election deniers, and
So are Democrats.
the election denial is not just denying a fact or a belief, having a false belief. It's an act of corruption. It's refusing to recognize the rule of law.
Yeah, and so are Democrats. This all applies to Democrats, just like Republicans. So I don't know why she's acting this is the Republican problem. Maybe because she's on MSNBC.
And rules of democracy. And they're also dependent on violence. And, the point is that when a party becomes yoked to the destiny of a lawless authoritarian, his goal is to debase them and bring them down to his level. And he makes them complicit in his crimes. And so a kind of spiral of radicalization happens where the party Now the party elite, some of them are under indictment, they have investigations, so they become more extreme and they take positions they never would have imagined they would take. And so this is why seeing the journey of this party, that's why I'm calling GOP.
Kind of lost, I kind of spaced out there using my phone, but it's probably not important what she said.
2024, a race to the bottom.
And she's absolutely correct about that. Think about it. In 2015,
Oh yeah, MSNBC hack is absolutely correct about her commentary on Republicans, even though most of it also applies to Democrats. But yeah, let's keep going.
everyone was shocked to see Trump say that he wants to deport every single immigrant, considering that this was the same party that granted amnesty to immigrants.
Yes.
It was under Reagan.
And Joe Biden has deported more illegals than Donald Trump has. But yeah, it's a Republican problem, clearly. It's a Republican problem. Definitely. Here's the thing is that, let me make sure what he said. I don't
immigrant, considering that this was the same.
Okay. So I've been around, immigrants. At my last job, we used to, help them, and we used to fill out their paperwork for them, or at least help them do it with the government and stuff like that. And occasionally there'd be calls that need to be translated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But yet that when Obama was president, this was a major, he deported more immigrants than George W. Bush ever dreamed of doing. This was like a major, major problem under Democrats. And Mike Figueredo and these liberals act like just a Republican problem. No, both parties do this shit. It's not just the Democrats. It's not just the Republicans. They're both scumbags. Both parties do this. And that's why I consider myself a part of the post-duopoly left. Where I'm sick of it. It's like we need a new world order, or I just sounded like George H.W. Bush. Hold on, that's not the right words. We need a new system of government. We need a new state. We need a state. Again, it's like my words aren't coming out properly, but we need new government. We need new way to govern, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. Instead of babbled out nonsense at the last minute there. So we need a new way to govern this country, and Democrats and Republicans are not it. They're not it. Let's keep going.
The same party that granted amnesty to immigrants. It was under Reagan, in fact. But at the first GOP debate, all of the candidates, they sounded like Trump, if not worse than Trump. Some took it further. Talking about invading Mexico, that's where we're at currently. That is fucking insane, where we're going to invade.
Also Pete Buttigieg talked about invading Mexico to fight the cartels. So the first time I heard this was from a Democrat. So, and then at the time we all said how insane that was, which is true. Now all of a sudden, Mike Figueredo was like, oh yeah, this is, this Republicans, we can't invade our neighbors, and how dare they even suggest that? And oh yeah, by the way, Democrats also did that. it's like it's both sides. He's acting like it's just that Republicans.
Neighbors for political reasons. The fact that you can say that out loud and still be electorally viable and not just be disqualified immediately should scare everyone, right? But I mean, what we're seeing is
Doesn't scare me.
the Overton window shift to where now Republicans can say the most batshit fucking insane things imaginable, and that's fine. We're at a point where neo-Nazis can be out in the open about their beliefs.
Yes. Yes, it's called the First Amendment, and yes, it's constitutional, and yes, they've always been out in the open. They're allowed to be out in the open. They're allowed to be citizens of the United States, just like you and I are. So it's like, oh well, neo Nazis are allowed to be open and open with their beliefs, and how dare they? Right? They should be in hiding, but we can't see them and we can't hear them. Like that's just a clear authoritarian leftism, but that's no problem. Authoritarian leftism is good. Authoritarian right wingers, those are bad now.
And when we think about fascist demagogues throughout history, Ruth Ben Guyot also compares Trump to Mussolini, but she explains that it's truly astounding to think of
Mussolini? Really? Trump or Mussolini are the same. It's so hyperbolic, man. It just like it gives me a headache at times.
every single thing that Trump has been able to accomplish in such a short period of time. Because remember, Trump didn't actually become politically relevant until 2015, but in under 10 years, think of
That's not true. He was politically relevant back in 2009 and 10. He's been politically relevant for over 10 years, like nearly 15 years. Because if you remember, he was King Birther. I mean, he ran up and down talking about how Obama wasn't born in the U.S. He was King Birther. And so this is back in the 2010, 11, 12. So, and he even flirted running for president in 2012. So Trump was politically relevant 15, 20 years at least, not 10. I mean, this is just
everything that he's been able to accomplish.
We're going to look back at this and be astonished at what he has accomplished. And so when people say he's lazy or he's just, a clown, that's not at all the case. He's extremely effective.
Wait, which one is it? I mean, liberals go back and forth on this. There's times where he's just an idiot, a moron, a clown. He's incompetent, doesn't know what he's doing. Other times, he's a criminal mastermind. He's a genius. He's politically effective, and he's this, that, and the third. He's great. Which one is it? They go back and forth, depending what's convenient for them at that moment.
Effective. And, just taking his ability to work his magic and propaganda. I actually don't know of another case where someone convinced, 50, 60 million people that he won an election, a national election, with working inside a democracy. He wasn't working like the fascists with a one-party state, with a closed, press environment. We had a pluralistic free press. We had a democracy, and he still managed to do that.
Free press. The press has been completely co-opted by the CIA. What are you talking about? Free press? Like, we have a free press, and somehow he managed to do this, and blah 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 blah. No. The CIA fully controls the media. In fact, it's MSNBC themselves who hire former CIA agents to be analysts. Like, come on.
Do this. And as we were talking before, even 3 years, later, people believe him more than their own family members. This is an enormous accomplishment, and it happened very rapidly.
And that makes a lot of sense, because in an environment where the regime itself controls press and information is very limited, it is more understandable that citizens would more quickly succumb to propaganda. But Trump was able to do everything, form this political cult within a democratic environment where information is more accessible than it's ever been. And the problem compounds when you consider that our entire government has been unable to adapt to changing climate conditions. And when you compare this moment to previous civilizations,
we are witnessing the first stages of civilization collapse. Okay. I mean, whatever. I don't care. keep going.
throughout history that we're unable to adapt, well, it's evident that we are witnessing the first stages of societal collapse, which makes matters worse. So this moment is very, very dangerous because
Yeah, very
we're seeing
dangerous.
capitalism devolve into fascism after it already devoured our entire planet. So we're kind of screwed even if democracy itself wasn't in danger. But on top of that, you know, we have this political situation where fascism is on the rise, not just in the United States, but around the globe. And we're actually looking at a situation where somebody could win the U.S. election and bring about authoritarianism in a democratic way, right? If he's able to win. But even though failure seems, I don't want to say likely at this point, but very much possible.
Yes.
Even if we fail, at least we can say that we tried, which is why I think it's important to talk about these things. You know, in the near future, things are going to get pretty volatile in this country, I'm assuming. And if Canada is preparing for the worst, then I think that we probably should too. But as bad as things look right now, the future is still unwritten. Can we stop the worst case scenario?
He sounds like Terminator 2 there. There's no future unless what we have, or something about future unless we make it. Something like that. That quote from Terminator. That's what he sounds like there.
From happening, I think we still can. But no one person is going to be able to save the entire country, right? But I think we can all make a difference at the individual level, just within our sphere of influence. If we can, we should still try to deprogram friends and family who are part of this cult. And
look at how condescending he is there. He assumes that all Trump supporters are in a cult. Like, oh yeah, you know, we gotta deprogram our friends and family to make sure they get out of this cult, and you know that we're smarter than them, so we have to educate them. Like, come on, dude, that's so doesn't he see how condescending that is?
And you can build relationships with people in your community that I think would benefit you, would pay dividends in the event we become authoritarian, right? And I think that it's really important that you vote, and you especially vote out fascists in elections, so that way extremism becomes electorally unviable.
Yeah, vote out fascism. Even though we don't know who, even though both parties are fascist. Yeah, makes sense.
But most importantly, the thing that I want to leave you with is to not lose hope, because democracy isn't dead yet. And even if it doesn't look good, I do still believe that we can salvage this country. But it just takes us, right?
Yeah. You can salvage America. You know, I mean, America the beautiful. America's great. Make America great again and go fuck yourself. I mean, that's basically, you know, that's just absolutely absurd. Let's get rid of that. Okay, let's do that. There we go. It's just absolutely absurd. That's my figuredo for you, trying to scare his audience to death about how horrible we are in the United States. Okay, now let's go to... Whoops. Oh, shit. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. So now we're going to go and cover the New Mexico governor trying to temporarily ban guns, or ban open carry, by using a public health order. Because apparently now people shooting each other with guns are somehow anti. There we go. They're somehow a public health issue, like COVID or flu or stuff like that. People shooting each other. They're somehow a public health issue. Yeah. Makes sense, huh? Unbelievable. So we're going to watch this first, and then I got another clip to watch. And then after that, we'll discuss. All right, but let's watch this one first.
Democratic governor is facing legal challenges after issuing an emergency order banning guns in public. Michelle Lujan Grisham announced the 30-day order Friday in response to a number of recent shootings, including one outside a minor league baseball game that killed an 11-year-old boy. The order affects New Mexico's largest city, Albuquerque, and the surrounding county. It suspends the right to open and concealed carry firearms in most public places. In response, some Republican lawmakers are threatening to impeach the governor. Anastasia Bowden joined.
Yeah. So yeah, so now we have this video. I think I may have played the wrong
Tonight,
one.
there's a new ruling just in from a federal.
Yeah, so anyways, we had a ban. She used the gun ban. She used the open carry ban basically by claiming a public health issue, even though people shooting each other is not really a public health issue. But yeah, let's just ignore basic facts and basic law and just say, nah, man, they, blah, 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 whatever. Let's keep. I mean, I'm definitely you can tell I've taken my Adderall today because I'm all over the place and I'm kind of shaky and stuff like that. I had to. I've been up since 6 o'clock in the morning, cleaning and shaving and making my bed and setting up, trying to figure out what I'm going to cover today, etc. So I'm kind of shaky, but I'm fine. I'm ready to go. I just need to, try to get this out of my system. But I had to take it this morning though because I needed to do all that other stuff. And I was up since like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Tonight, there's a new ruling just in from a federal judge. He says the New Mexico governor is violating constitutional rights with a new ban on the right to publicly carry a firearm in New Mexico's largest city, Albuquerque. CBS's Lana Zach reports on the backlash from.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely a constitutional violation. Just blatant, like, oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna ban open carry for 30 days, and I'm gonna use a public health order to do it, even though it has nothing to do with diseases or viruses.
Both parties.
In New Mexico, gun culture runs deep, so a temporary ban on where to carry them was bound to cause an uproar.
People are angry.
Mark Abramson is a gun shop owner.
I cannot fathom how this is anything other than an attention getter.
The judge's ruling halts Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham's 30-day suspension, barring private citizens from carrying firearms on public property in Albuquerque and Bernalillo County, where violent crime rates are especially high. She cited a public health emergency after 3 children were fatally shot recently, including 11-year-old Froilan Villegas, who was killed outside a ballpark last week.
I have to take a tough, direct stand where basically I'm just ignoring the fact that we lost an 11-year-old. Another child.
What about the children? What about the children? That's always what it's about with these people. They use children, and Republicans do this too when it comes to abortion. But they always want to use children. What a child was shot. What do you expect me to do? I have to take away your rights for temporarily until we figure out what's going on. So yeah, it's always the children of both parties. Always an excuse. That's always their excuse.
Nationally, firearms are the leading cause of death for children and teens. But the county's Democratic Sheriff, John Allen, feels that the governor's act was unconstitutional.
There's not enough law enforcement to go around and enforce this order when we're supposed to be going after criminals on the street and not after law-abiding citizens.
So what are the solutions?
The solutions is multifaceted. You have red flag laws. You implement with your senators and your representatives other laws that they think might help bring down gun.
Even this Democrat sheriff says, yeah, it's unconstitutional. I mean, we don't have enough cops to even enforce this. So I don't know what she's expecting us to do.
Violence.
The Catholic Archbishop for the area has counseled families ravaged by gun violence. He supports the temporary measure.
We have to be courageous. We have to do something about this terrible status quo that we're living with in terms of gun violence.
Nora, this divide doesn't fall along traditional party lines. Many of the most public critics were Democrats. I spoke with the governor's office just moments ago. They plan to be back here in court on October 3rd. The governor says she will never stop fighting. Nora?
It's a really interesting story, Lana. Thank you.
Oops.
Tonight, there's a new ruling.
Yeah, well, that's just a virtue signal. Like, oh yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep fighting. I'll never stop fighting for my constituents. That's something but a virtue signal. Just meaningless. Yeah, and let's bottom line this. It's just nonsense. It's like, how dare, I mean, you can't go around violating people's constitutional rights just because a few people were shot over the weekend. I mean, that's always happened here in the U.S. I mean, always. It's always been a problem. People shooting. It doesn't mean, all of a sudden now you get to change the rules and violate the Constitution. President. All right, well, I'm going to react. I have some stuff on Twitter that I want to react to real quick. Let's see. Let's open it first. By the way, if you're here, please like and subscribe. Like, subscribe, very important, because it helps me with the algorithm, helps us and INN with the algorithm, because clearly we're being suppressed. So please do that if you haven't already. All right, so this is funny. I'm going to actually have to share my screen first, but like I always forget to share my screen properly. All right. So AOC's did a press conference earlier today, and she was shouted down by protesters. So I'm going to read this and then I'll play the clip. Just in, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tries giving a press conference on migrant crisis in Manhattan, but gets absolutely drowned out by angry New Yorkers. Surprised she is not crying about it at the border like she did when Trump was in office. AOC, who's shouting over the protester, tried revealing her plan to end the migrant crisis in New York City, but failed miserably. The protesters drowned her out, screaming, "Close the border, close the border, close the border." I'm pretty sure there's more conservatives here in New York, that are shouting her down. But let's see. Let's go back to the beginning, though. So let's watch this real quick. It's like a minute and a half.
Yes, and ultimately, I think that there are 3 points of consensus here that are very
Close the border! Close the border!
First is that there is consensus here across geography and states on increased federal resources to cities and municipalities dealing with this issue. The second is to allow for work authorizations so that the folks in here can get to work and start supporting themselves as soon as possible. They are prevented from getting jobs, they are prevented from employment, and that is part of the strain on our public systems. The faster that folks can access the work that they're asking for,
I can't even hear her really.
we can solve this problem. And the third is extension of temporary protected status for Venezuelans, who are the largest population that are arriving here.
Wait, just for Venezuelans? How about for all of them? Like temporary protected status. Okay, fine. How about for all of them? Not just for what makes Venezuelans so special. Excuse me. I think what's going on here is, again, AOC is basically following the Democratic Party line. Nicolas Maduro, who's the president of Venezuela, basically is considered a left-wing authoritarian dictator. So this is AOC saying, "Oh yeah, the people from Venezuela, they need protected status because we can't send them back or else they'll die." That's basically what she's saying there. Desert Mantis says, "There's the macro and the micro. You should know that." Yeah, I forgot about that. It's a good point. My mouse battery is dying, so oh well. Keep going.
So with that, we thank you all. And ready to wrap up?
Well, the American dream will not be bullied into submission today. We will continue to fight for the American dream. We will not be bullied. We will not be pushed into a corner.
I still can't understand them. I can't really hear it.
Solutions. TPS for the Venezuelans. An extension. They already have TPS. Work permits for people that just want to work for their families. Additional funding, yes, for New York City needs more funding so we can get this done. God bless you, America. We love you. What are you guys doing to get additional funding? Thank you. We're going to fight for a supplemental.
Yeah, you have no plan. This is nonsense. Hey, you have no plan.
With that,
Yes, and ultimately,
You have no plan. It's just like, oh yeah, just extend TPS for Venezuelans. Let's just do this. Let's just do that. We need more money. We need temporary work visas, people to go to work. Let's do this. Let's do that. Instead of trying to get Americans jobs, let's get a bunch of people who just got here. Let's get them jobs. Get them cheap labor so we can help the corporations, our donors, make more money. That's what they're saying. I mean, these immigrants are basically, the corporation rather hire them because they're cheaper. It's cheap labor. So they want to give them that temporary those visas so they can work, so they can get paid and send the money back to their families instead of keeping that money here. But whatever, I mean, the left wing position for the most part is employ these people and help out. Ultimately, what that does is help out corporations and help them make more money. That's the left wing position, which doesn't really make sense to me for the most part. Let's implement a federal jobs guarantee. Yeah, for American citizens, I'm definitely in favor of that. Yeah, I'm definitely in favor of that because if private companies won't employ people, the federal government can do it very easily. I mean, we have plenty of bridges and highways and tunnels and infrastructure to fix. So just use the Americans who want to work, but can't find jobs in the private sector. Get them a job in the government sector, fixing up our infrastructure and adding fiber optics to every part of the country, adding high-speed internet access to every part of the country. Because here's the thing, to this day, 30-40% of the country is wired for high-speed internet. And that's today, in 2023. Like, imagine, this is not 2000 or 2008, 2023, and it's like 30% of the country, 40% of the country is wired for high-speed internet or something like that, which is insane. There's plenty of work to be done. It's just that nobody wants to do it, or nobody wants to pay to do it, at the very least. So if there's a federal jobs guarantee, then that work has to be done at that point because you guaranteed a job if you want it, either from the state or from private sector. The private sector won't hire you, and the state will to do work like that. Fixing our infrastructure and fixing fixing everything needs to be fixed, updating, modernizing the infrastructure too, not just fixing it. That's very important as well. So yeah, there's always work out there, just that somebody has to fund it, and nobody wants to fund all this work. So let's see. There's something else on AOC I wanted to cover, but I have to find it because I didn't bookmark it. So if you guys bear with me 1 second. Oh, there's another angle. So let's. I can't hear even less here. Send them back, send them back, send them back. So let's see. There's something else. It wasn't that. This is all the press conference. Hold on. Oh my God. Look how. Wait a minute. AOC just tried to gaslight 8.5 million people whose city has been taken over and vandalized by illegal immigrants. Everything is okay. They respond. The New Yorker, she eventually retreated back into the building. That woman right there in the beginning was like, looked psycho. That one. That one right there is like, what the hell's wrong with her? But where is that? This is everything about the This is everything about the press conference happened today. And this is everything that happened at the press conference, and yeah, this is everything that happened at the press conference today. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's not what I'm looking for. You have to bear with 1 second here. We do need that. We do. I just want a federal jobs guarantee. I like that idea. Oops. Hold on. Why can't I find what I'm looking for? Yeah, this is it. All right, let me. Yeah, am I sharing this? Yes, I am. Okay. I recommend reading Paulina book. Paulina. Yeah, I can't mention that name. The case for a job guarantee. She describes how job guarantee will work. Okay, it's good to know. Look, I'll actually, I was gonna say I'll check my local library, but the issue is I owe every local library around here money because I don't return books on time. So I'll have to find it online, something like that. I don't return books on time. I forget to return books. I owed a local library money. I owed the state library money. I owed the county library money because I don't return books. Hell, I owe my own I owe my old college that I went to money because I don't return books. I always forget. In fact, a lot of them are somewhere around here that I've seen. So yeah, so I was gonna say I'm gonna look it up at the library. Thank you for that, but of course I'm not going to. But I probably won't return it, and I owe money to every library locally, so I'm gonna look at it online or something. But this is tweeted out by Compton J CJ from Revolutionary Blackout Network. So I'm gonna read some of this. AOC is on a corporate PR tour with corporate media in attempt to whitewash her betrayals. So this is like a Guardian piece, but this is from CJ. So I'm going to read the article itself probably. Look at that. There's a very real danger here. AOC in 2024, the climate crisis and selling out. Twice reelected and comfortable in her political skin, a Democratic congresswoman made clear that Biden can't take progressives for granted, except he will every time, and AOC will gladly support him because Republicans are evil, or the Democrats are lesser and two evils rather, and she's a Democrat. She ain't no good. She is not a socialist. She's not a communist. She's a Democrat. That's what AOC is. Let me make this much. I can't really see this. All right, here we go. That's still. Wait, I'm not sharing the correct screen. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. And keep. Be nice if I had a producer or something. Somebody would do this stuff for me, but because once I get talking and once I start running my mouth, it's for me to do that. Look at my screen, make sure everything is good, and then start reading, and then start running my mouth again. So, but I don't have a producer because I got no money for producer. So it's like I barely have money for myself. All right, so let's read this. The campaign office of AOC sits deep, blah, 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 the Bronx. Okay, you know what? Might be easier just to read CJ's tweets because, he goes through. There's a bunch of screenshots here, which makes it easier for me. So I'll just read this. Forget that. It's way too long, and I have no patience for that right now. For the left, the war in Ukraine, she's talking about the war in Ukraine, this quote, is potentially more complicated. How is it complicated? I don't know. We got to get out now, tomorrow, today even. We can get out today. That's good. Putin's invasion by any measure is an affront to morality. What about all our invasions over the last 20 years? That's not immoral. No, not to AOC. She's saying, it's only Russia is immoral for invading another country. But U.S. support for Ukraine has put critics of the military-industrial complex, the government that spends about $900 billion a year on defense, around 15% of the federal budget, or 3.3% of the gross domestic product, in an uncomfortable position of rooting for the Pentagon and endorsing a windfall for defense contractors. Longtime skeptics of U.S. imperialism suddenly find themselves in line with Republican war hawks, AOC being a primary example of that. The job guarantees, including the Green New Deal. Yeah. I just wish, there's no way it'll ever pass with the Green New Deal, but yeah, it's there, Ocasio-Cortez articulates the uneasy accommodation. It is legitimate a legitimate conversation. I think on one hand, it is important for us to underscore what a dramatic threat to the global order Russia invasion of Ukraine is. Yeah. None of our invasions do that, though, but Russia's one invasion definitely does that. We must defend democracy. Of course, here we go again with democracy. Even though in Ukraine they banned political parties, they banned the Russian language, they banned socialists and communists from running, but somehow they're the democracy. Ukraine is the democracy. What a joke. We cannot allow this reversion into the almost late 19th century imperial invasion order. It is so incredibly destabilizing and dangerous. We must fight against that precedent. We must protect the democracy of Ukraine and sovereignty of Ukraine, 100%. Yeah, the Russians are the bad guys. The Russians, they do invasions, they do this, that, and the third. But America, is good. So let's read this. It says AOC is now regular old Democrats. Now, ran a headline on New York Magazine Intelligencer website in July. The article's author, Freddie DeBoer, argued that Ocasio-Cortez's appearance on Hot Save America podcast to announce her endorsement of Joe Biden for president in the 2024 election was her last kiss-off to the radicals who had supported her, voted for her, donated to her campaign, and made her unusually famous in American politics. Yes, 100% true. That's her last fuck you to, all people who supported her. You read that. Okay, so I read all this already. But yeah, this is absolutely absurd. AOC is pro-Ukraine war. She's pro-financing Nazis. Unless she's against Nazis unless they're Ukraine. Then she'll gladly vote to fund them over and over and over and over again ad infinity. So the idea that she's just some kind of socialist or communist at this point is just ridiculous. It's just goddamn absurd. It's just embarrassing. At this point, if you supported AOC, I mean, at one point I did. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you and say, I never supported AOC. I always saw through her bullshit. I didn't see through her. I was fooled just like most everybody else here in this space. I was fooled. I was a dumbass. Just like I was fooled with Cornel West. I mean, like we're all these fucking dumbasses and morons, We're hope. And then it turns out that, oh yeah, we're sorry, we're going to do exactly what the government and the deep state tells us to do every single time. We're going to vote for war. We're going to never fight against war. We're never going to cut defense. We will never do anything. All we'll do is we'll continue to fight. Oh, excuse me. Oh, God. That was interesting. We'll continue to do that. We will never, ever fight. Woke. All right, so I got another half an hour. Let's have a little bit of fun here. Let me have a little bit of fun making fun of Mike Figueredo again because, I like making fun of him. He's so hyperbolic and so over the top that I can't imagine not laughing at this guy. So let's do that. This is a video called Reality Check. Even Republican voters don't care about GOP's woke hysteria. Okay, let's watch.
Represents a war on truth, so we pledge to wage a war on woke. We will fight the woke in education. We will fight the woke in the corporations, and we will fight the woke in the halls of Congress. We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. The woke mind virus, woke. Woke, the woke mob, woke ideology. We fought the woke mob. Woke. We will never, ever surrender
to the woke mob. We will never surrender. Yeah, the Republicans are ridiculous. But so are Democrats on this. I mean, they can't. They love the culture wars, just like the Republicans do. Difference is they run around talking about they're pro transgender reassignment surgery for children. They are pro abortion. Which again, if you're an adult, do whatever you want. Like, I don't. You want to have a million abortions, fine. If you want to transition to be a woman, or you want to transition to be a man, if you want to transition to being a cat or a dog or a bull or whatever, fine. But the children is just unacceptable to me. The kids are confused enough, and they're trying to teach them about transgenderism, and they're trying to teach them about the million genders that we now have. They're trying to teach them about all this nonsense, and it is nonsense at this point. So let's see what this video is about. I've not watched this video, so I'm reacting just like everybody else is here. It's new to me.
Seems like woke has officially run its course. I, for one, have been sick and tired of hearing about woke bullshit for a very long time now, but apparently I'm no longer alone, because even Republican Party primary voters don't actually care if Republicans vow to take on quote-unquote woke corporations or not, because as Politico reports, more than half of GOP primary voters said in a New York Times Siena College poll last month that they were more likely to support a candidate who says that the government should stay out of deciding.
No. That's your evidence, a poll? Come on, man. Polls are meaningless. If this is true, how come these Republican voters keep electing Ron DeSantis and keep electing Ted Cruz and keep electing all these woke warriors on the right? So this is already absurd. This video is already just off to the wrong foot. It's like, hey guys, the Republicans are sick and tired of woke culture. What's my evidence? Oh yeah, a poll. Like, come on, man, this is absurd.
Deciding what corporations can support over one who promises to fight corporations that promote woke left ideology. Lies fewer than half of GOP primary voters said in a June Morning Consult poll that companies are doing too much to promote social equality and acceptance in the United States. New polling from the Cap Action Fund, an organization affiliated with the Liberal Center for American Progress think tank, found a majority of voters, including a majority of Republicans, support corporations being environmentally and socially responsible, though there was more support for being environmentally responsible than socially responsible across all types of voters. And these results to me are not surprising. But it's no wonder why candidates like DeSantis, who hyperfixate on woke stuff, is going down in flames in the GOP 2024 primary, at least as of now, because, I mean, voters simply just don't give a shit, and they're not picking up what he's putting down. And as a
except that these Republicans keep getting reelected. And it's mostly, we don't know because it's the woke stuff or their policies, but they keep getting reelected, Ron DeSantis being the primary example of that. So the polling is incongruent with the actual elections. So this isn't evidence. This is just more nonsense, probably. Honestly, it's just goddamn absurd at this point. It's like yeah, everybody's sick of the culture wars, except that both sides love talking about the culture wars. So which one is it? Either you're sick of it and you just stop talking about it, or you're sick of it, or you want to talk about it and you want to run your mouth about it all day and all night long. Which one is it? Fuck if I know at this point. I'm sick of the culture wars myself, but here's the difference. I very rarely talk about it, if ever, on this channel. I talked about it today because it just made me laugh and it's just hilarious. Excuse me. But yeah, I think I'll hang out for a few more minutes and then I'll probably wrap up because I just didn't mean to close that, but I did. Oh well. But yeah, I mean, let's see what's going on here. Maybe let's see. So I'll talk about real quick about my plans for my channel, which by the way, it's on top of the chat. So if you're watching, hold on, let me see. That's my personal YouTube channel. If you're watching on the INN channel or on Twitch or wherever you're watching, if you want to subscribe, there's my channel there. So subscribe to me. I'm making a lot more standalone content. I'll probably start uploading clips of this stream soon enough. I just gotta actually fucking sit down and edit and and clip out stuff and upload it to my channel, which I haven't done yet. I'm quite lazy, but I mean, not lazy, that's not the right word, but quite, I'm pretty busy, so it's hard for me to actually sit down for an hour or two and clip out clips that I like to upload to my channel or to upload to Twitter so I can promote this stream and promote myself better. But it's quite difficult for me to do when I'm doing stuff and making videos for my main channel, my standalone videos. So in fact, because I've been quite busy all week on my main channel. Hold on, let me just do that. Yep, my battery's dying. I know. I'm almost done. Relax. Fucking you. Relax. I mean, good God. So I'm quite busy there. As you can see, I've uploaded a bunch of these videos this week. Oops. So these are all my videos. Oops. I don't know why I did that, but okay. So I appreciate it if you happen to be watching this and you see, please subscribe. I have 182 subscribers. I'd like to get to 200 before the end of the month, if possible. We'll see. At the end of the year, maybe getting to 500. That's a really high goal, but I'm going to continue churning out videos and stuff, and I'll also probably be playing some video games or do video game weekends. So upload myself playing certain video games and stuff like that. Right now, I'm planning to do LA Noire and probably Cyberpunk. I can't even talk right now because my throat is bothering me and I'm ready to wrap up. My body's telling me enough's enough, Angel. Let me finish up and then I'll shut up for a couple hours. But yeah, I mean, I've been uploading a lot more videos. I'm gonna try to upload at least once a day and then stream on Fridays. So yeah, so please subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe to the INN channel. I mean, let me see where the INN channel's at. I think we're closing in on 2,000 subs. Oh yeah. Yeah, we're at 5,900. So you can sub to here if you haven't already and like and stuff. We would greatly appreciate it. It helps out a lot. So yeah, that'll do it for this episode of Angel in the Afternoon. I want to thank everybody for watching. Please like, please subscribe, please share the stream, and give me a comment down below. Tell me what you think. And I'm going to see you guys I'll be back here next Friday for sure. But throughout the week, I'll probably be uploading new videos of breaking news and whatever I feel like talking about. So one more thing before I go, though. I just remembered. I want to show you guys this real quick, and then I'll just wrap up. Oops. Here we go. Okay, let me do that. I was gonna upload this. Oops. See, I was gonna talk about this story in particular, but the issue is it's about the virus that starts with a C, and I quite frankly don't want to discuss this on YouTube because this is on YouTube. It's not just my channel. If it was just my channel, I would talk about it and I really wouldn't give a damn. Because even if there's a strike, it's like, whatever. But I don't want to give the INN YouTube channel a strike for no reason. So I have very opinionated on this topic in particular. So what I will do is very likely make a video on that virus topic with the CIA, probably from my Rumble channel. So if you haven't followed me on Rumble, my link tree is my Twitter, and I'll try to link it here too in the chat. Hold on. I have to go to Rumble first and wait. trying to find my channel. Rumble's kind of difficult to, kind of difficult to look through. So let's see. Oh, here we go. Well, I'm a moron. So I'm going to copy my Rumble channel here. If you haven't already, subscribe to me there too, because I'll probably be uploading stuff exclusive to my Rumble page soon too, because there's stuff I want to talk about, which I can't talk about on YouTube because I get the ban hammer. So, yep. So that'll do it. Now I'm going to wrap up for sure because I need to start cooking dinner soon. So yeah, that'll do it for this episode of Angel in the Afternoon. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope you guys were like and subscribe and share and give me a comment, all that good stuff. Please hook me up. I'm going to see you guys next week. And I'll be doing videos throughout the week. And I'll be on Twitter. You follow me there at AngelJRivera08. And I think that's all the shameless plugs I have. So I'm going to see you guys next week. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys Monday with a video, I'm sure. And Friday for the next episode of the stream, episode 29 of Angel in the Afternoon.